Hello everybody, Tom Matuska here once again for Thursday Live at the Matuska Taxidermy Supply Company along with Brett Wingfield. And we're going to move on to a new subject today.
Yes.
As you know, I think we exhausted you. We used up 7 days of your life that you'll never get back. 7 hours of your life at the artificial smallmouth head or fish heads and artificial fins. And I started out every one of them holding up a head and holding up fins and explaining why we did this, and we're going to move on today. But this is the smallmouth. You saw us gloss it with the 2K aerosol gloss, and something I'd like to mention on the gloss for the smallmouth is you mix it, and what do they say? It's good for 48 hours. Although we mixed it last Thursday, and I glossed a really nice smallmouth yesterday, another one, and that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. 8 days, the gloss was still good, and it still gave me a really, really nice shine. So if you're looking for a gloss mainly for fish or a high gloss on any of your items, give that 2K aerosol a look, because you burst the catalyst within the can and you shake it up, and man, it last time we used it, it lasted a long time too. So it really beats mixing the big automotive can and the catalyst and measuring it out. It's all automatic. You just burst the seal, shake it up, and man, we liked it. But anyway, that's a smallmouth. And after we glossed him last week, we put on a little shrubbery and a little glamour and added a crawdad to it. So that was our finished project, and it only took us 7 weeks, more than just 7 hours too.
Skin mount with artificial fins and artificial head, right? Real skin, artificial fins, artificial head.
So a lot of people refer to it, and we've started calling them that. It's a hybrid fish. That fish was in the freezer for
ever
and ever, and it was a shop fish. But that fish was in the freezer, and his fins were completely trashed. He was dried up, but look at how good he turned out. That's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, very good.
So that was what we've been spending our time on, and today we're going to move on to form alterations. And a lot of taxidermists are able to mount a deer on a mannequin bought out of the catalog, but what if the customer wants something unique that you can't get, or maybe you don't have, you know?
Sure.
If you go through the catalogs and say you order something or you misorder and something doesn't fit, do you have to keep it, reorder? And I mean, like, we're going to deal with wall pedestals, and what's a wall pedestal cost? I bet you're hitting $80 plus. Plus shipping, you're well over $100. And a lot of people are afraid to do alterations, but the more alterations you do, the easier they get. And it's kind of like a dentist that doesn't do fillings, you know, or whatever. You got the more little crafts and trades that you can add to your taxidermy business, the more versatile you will be, and you can give customers what you want or what they want, and end up with happier customers. Anybody can mount a deer out of a catalog if it fits, but there's alterations involved, sometimes nothing more than making them bigger and smaller, sometimes turning the head, sometimes extending the muzzle into a longer face, smaller face, but there's right ways and wrong ways to do that, and you don't want to turn him into something that doesn't look right. In addition to the wall pedestal that we're going to make, I think we're going to add a change out head. So in the next couple weeks, we're going to show you how to turn a full shoulder mannequin, stock mannequin right out of the catalog, into a wall pedestal. A really nice, attractive wall pedestal. We're going to show you how to switch out heads. Sometimes you might have a 7.5-inch head, and you really need a 7 3/4. Now there's ways to do that. You can cut this, and you can add a quarter, you can add a half, you can add 2 inches if you want to, but it's going to start at some point not looking like that animal that you're trying to mount. So you have to be very, very careful. I always say that, you know, on a bobcat, you can always make a bobcat 2-3 inches longer, but now he starts looking like a weasel or a mink, you know.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
stay within your proportions, and you got to be concerned with leg lengths and things like that.
Sure.
So we're going to show you that and just our method. Many of you have done all kinds of different alterations, and you're going to have your own ideas. Don't be afraid to text them into us. You know, some of them we've used, and some of them are going to be new to us. And like and share.
Oh yeah.
Is that I'm supposed to tell them? Like and share, like and share, like and share. We want to see the little hearts. I don't see any bubbles or hearts coming up there. How do we get to see that?
Oh, she has to switch screens.
Aha. And
Surely there's a bunch.
don't be afraid to text in and ask questions. Some of you are going to think that you know, you're going to be embarrassed to ask some questions, but there's going to be somebody, you know, 5,000 miles away in another town that's thinking of
going up there.
thinking of another question that they're afraid to ask too. So that's what we're here for, just to help you, show you what we do, and we kind of get by. We've done it for a long time.
We have.
And I think to start with, this is everybody knows, I'm sure, this is a wall pedestal bless buck. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a pedestal bless buck. And this pedestal bless buck is actually going to get, we can turn him into a wall pedestal. And he's a symmetrical pedestal. And by wall pedestal, what we mean is we want him to hang on the wall with a backboard on him, but he's going to be turned sideways so that you can see more shoulder.
Yep.
And there's lots of different ways. You can, I've seen wall pedestals that tip out at you like that. You know, there's all different ways. You do have to finish this some way. There's lots of different ways to do that. Some people get really, really crafty. We've seen white-tailed deer with that finished with birch bark and rock and all kinds of different methods. People get extremely crafty when it comes to finishing the back of their pedestals and wall pedestals. So, this is our victim.
I wouldn't call him a victim.
And this is a nice competitor's choice form, and it's kind of, we're going to chop him up pretty good. It's kind of a shame to do it, but we're going to turn this into a wall pedestal. And not only that, like I said, you're going to see us switch out the head, do some different things to him, but deal with one thing at a time. Don't try to make all your changes at once. We're going to add some shoulder here. We're going to cut some off here. We're going to change a head, and we don't want him sideways to the wall, so we're going to want to alter that neck position into a really nice, graceful, where he's looking out into the room.
Yeah,
so we need to do a whole lot of things to this mannequin. Don't try to do them all at once. Try to deal with one specific change, for me, deal with one specific change at a time, and don't try to do it all at once. So, with that, should we put him on the form?
Definitely.
You can do that, and I will take the bless buck off. We'll use that Bob Fothery mounting stand, and this is a accessory from the mounting stand, and we can skewer this right onto there. Now, since we're going to cut this off, we're going to change this whole backboard configuration. And like I said, we're going to extend this shoulder. We're going to cut this one off, and we don't want to be cutting through that backboard all the time. So show them how you're going to deal with that, and I will get rid of the bless buck on this one.
And this is a right turn. So for us, we're just going to remove this backboard here. We don't want to have any screws coming through the backside so that we don't have to cut through them. So the easiest thing is going to be to take this mounting stand bracket, which I believe had a third skewer on it, but we only have the two, and we're just going to skewer him down, just like so. And it's nice and sturdy. He's not going anywhere. And now we can attach him to our stand and still make the cut to the backboard without having any interference. So I'll bring him up here for you. And I might just Just give him a push on the top.
Hold it.
How's that?
Good.
We're both on the wrong side.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a question from Chris Thompson on YouTube, and he is wondering if you order a form a little bigger than hide measurements, and if so, how much bigger?
Oh, man. Bigger, what do you think?
Bigger is not always better when it comes to mounting deer. I will tell you a story. When I first began taxidermy, I was taught get a form a little bit bigger, and when you sewed them up, you used the pliers, and you pulled the skin together with the pliers, and I fought deer mounting for 20 years doing that. It's like when we had live deer and we could pet them, you could take a live deer, which does not have saggy skin all over the place, and you can grab their skin a little bit, not like a basset hound, but almost like a basset hound, and you can pull their skin up like your dogs or cat. That skin actually floats. They are not as big as customers often think they shot. So don't try to please a customer by adding a couple 3 inches. Measure what you have. We always, with deer, we take a measurement of the carcass if we have it when we skin them out, and then we read into how long has he been dead. You know, if he's very, very fresh, we might stick to that measurement pretty closely. If they shot him and they hung him in the barn for, you know, a week, we take that into consideration. But we'll take a carcass measurement. We also take a measurement off your green skin. The green skin is going to be very supple and pliable, and you can easily stretch a green skin farther than what the animal really was. Once they come back from the tannery, we'll take a measurement off that skin. We compare the 3, and they should be relatively close. We do not, if we got a 21-inch neck over the swell, I probably wouldn't go to a 22. It will make mounting not comfortable and not fun.
Yep. I would say that second measurement for us is the
Most important, yeah.
Yeah, and most important to ours. You might be able to get away with a lesser A or B measurement. So if you were 19 by 20, you might go on an 18 and a half by 20. You might fudge that one, but I wouldn't go.
And they'll even
up
look
on the
bigger
others.
if you know, if you
a little more swell. Yeah, but trust your measurements. I wouldn't enjoy going bigger too much. That's a good question, though. That's a really good question.
And we've go back and watch some of our early videos that we probably have on YouTube, I think, because we covered the measurement thing. And when you try to, I mean, we have customers all the time that say, this is the biggest deer that I've ever shot. He was absolutely huge, really puff out the neck. So in your mind, when you're going through the catalog and you know that deer was a 21 by 23, man, the guy really wanted it really big. Let's see, let's go. He said it was big. I don't know why he doesn't measure it. Let's do a 22 by 24. That's the wrong way to approach your taxidermy work.
That already got less fun.
And you will be very sad.
Yeah.
Okay, something else that I like to do is we have this rubber cord, rubber tubing?
Surgical tubing, isn't it?
Surgical tubing.
Yep. Tourniquet.
And we love this stuff. We use it for a lot of alterations. And I'm just gonna hook it on the handle of this mounting stand. And Brett skewered him on there, and I'm just gonna wrap it around because as you're sawing, as you're working on him, this is gonna tend to fall off. And you don't want it falling off on the floor, on the ground. So, and don't let go of this because it will snap you. And I'm just gonna.
Slingshot cord.
What's that?
Slingshot cord.
I know, it is. Water balloons. Anybody have those water balloon throwers?
Oh, yeah. Made those out of those useless exercise band things that never get used. They sit in the closet.
I had a brother-in-law that bought a lot of them one time to his insurance agent, just in case, and his insurance agent said, send them back.
Exercise bands?
No, the slingshots, the water balloon slingshots.
Oh,
And they get
why send them back?
because they will hurt somebody.
Yeah, but
And you'll be liable.
no. It's just a slingshot.
And they are very accurate.
They are.
Okay, now whenever you think you got him wrapped up here as good as you want, we'll take it off a little later, but I'm just gonna tie it off. Make sure you tie it good so that it doesn't start unwinding on you.
And we have this cord, we have a half a dozen pieces around the shop.
Oh, and we've had it for 20, 30 years,
Yeah.
haven't we?
And you can always find something. It's wrapped around something. It's handy. It's a third hand in case you're doing something by yourself. It's
That's what we
pretty
call it,
convenient.
our third hand,
Yeah, it kind of
helping
is.
hand. Okay, he can't come off of here. He's stuck on good. So I guess the next thing that we want to do with this is cut that backboard off. And you mentioned turning off your microphone. Do you want to turn off your microphone and you can saw it?
Okay. We'll see
What do
if
you
that
think?
works.
Is that a good
Is
idea?
that okay? We'll see if that works. I think I
'Cause
have
it's
to
gonna
press
be
this little
noisy.
button.
When you cut these off, you can cut it off with a handsaw, Sawzall. We can't do alterations without our Milwaukee hacksaw. We have a small 8-volt and we have this one. And it's our go-to for every kind of alteration that we do.
Can we bring him down just a touch?
We have a first-time viewer, Drew Minnick, who is tuning in with us. So welcome to
Hi, Drew.
Hi, Drew.
Thursday Live.
Should I pretend my mic is off?
Sure.
So we're just gonna, do you want to tell him since my mic's off? We're just
Oh, I'm
gonna
sorry.
Come in here parallel. Due to technical
No.
difficulties.
That's being funny. Okay, we're just going to cut that backboard off and get it out of our way. And so he's just going to, because the blade's kind of short, he's going to come and do half, probably come around the other side or turn the form and do the other half and get rid of the backboard so that we can extend our foam out and make either our pedestal or wall pedestal, you know, whatever your desires are.
How thick is the back?
Almost 3/4 of an inch on ours. I don't know what you're going to find in, probably 5/8, I'm going to guess.
Jeff Hartwig says hello.
Hi, Jeffrey. Just like a surgeon.
So if I cut off pretty smooth.
We can save it for another deer. You know, when it comes to alterations, like I said, many of you that are listening have done every kind of alteration there are, many more than we have done. But a lot of times, this may be your first attempt, and always start small. Start by maybe picking up the paw of a fox or moving a leg to a different branch, you know, small alterations. I remember I thought I was pretty competent in taxidermy, and I bought a life-size muskox for him, and I have to I make it bigger, smaller, I don't remember which it was. And first of all, when it came from, in those days I got it from Hart Forms in Maine. And so that any of you old timers, you'll know that that's got to already go back 30 years. Anyway, I got it and it was in a whole bunch of pieces. And I screwed it all together and I started chopping, and I ended up taking, it was already in, I don't know, 6 pieces. I turned it into about 12 pieces, and I spent $900 on this form. And I literally didn't know how to put it back together, and I had to go home and tell my wife that I think I destroyed a $900 form. Yeah, Caitlin has a funny look on her face. She knows what my wife would do. And I did manage to, through a lot of sweat and tears and things like that, put the whole thing together. And when you're talking about hair that long, it turned out pretty good. But start small and build up your confidence in alterations, and every one will get a little more complex, and they will get easier too. And you will know what to do without having to, fumble around. So our method on this and again, we're gonna start. We talk about pedestals and wall pedestals because we approach them a little bit the same way. To start with, we're going to take this back and we're going to extend it out. And at that point, we could go either the pedestal route.
We sure could.
Or we can go the wall pedestal route. Yep. So in order to do that, since we need more shoulder on this side, we don't quite need so much here. You can't just cut it off and put it over there. So we're going to foam out to give us something to turn him into. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. Some people will take duct tape, wrap it all around there, tip him with this up and pour foam in. Everybody's going to have their own method. We like to use tin. We have a lot of tin. This is from a print shop, and that works good. We're just going to we'll cut a strip that'll go around here. We're going to pin it into place, put a little mold release on it, and foam it. Yep. So I will cut you some strips if you want to tell them all about the foam. How would that be?
Foam. So we're going to do...
like we had on our root beer floats.
Yeah,
Ice Cream Man came again today.
Every Thursday. It's the best part about Thursdays. So we're going to use a 2-part urethane foam, and this is no secret to anyone, and it's a standard in our industry, but we do have a new viewer today, and we have several others that are just getting into taxidermy. So all of our mannequins are made from the 2-part urethane. That's a urethane foam. It's going to rise to, this is about, what is our mannequin foam? 2.5, 3 pounds? That was thunder.
I'm getting out of your way so you can talk. Yeah, it's 3-pound density.
3 pounds. So what that means is that poured into a 1 cubic foot block, this foam will rise to a consistency. That block will weigh approximately 3 pounds. That's how they gauge density. So if this was a 10-pound density, it would be a very heavy block, 1 foot by 1 foot block, and it'd be very dense, and it would take a lot of material. We also sell a 10-pound foam, and we've had phone calls where people say, hey, we got this foam and it's just not rising like the other, and that's because that's the 10-pound foam. It's very, very dense and very strong. This foam is, as you saw, we cut it. You can scratch it easily with your finger. We can carve and sand this foam, and it works really good. So we like this for our alterations. We'll do it for attaching pieces and parts together, and we'll also do it for extending the backs. So we've got a little bit poured off already here into cups, and we'll just pour out of that one, out of these. We've got it on hand. It's always easy for us, so we've got 5-gallon containers of it with little pour spouts, which makes it nice and clean. But we're going to mix. Urethane foam is a 2-part mixture, equal parts of A and B, and they recommend your mixtures to be weighed, equal parts by weight. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We generally will eyeball it for small pours like this. For our mannequins, our foam is actually metered, so we know exactly how much A and B. It does make a bit of a difference, especially when you're pouring compressed foam. This is going to be an open pour, so we're not going to compress it. It's not going to be quite as dense as it is on your mannequin.
Good, are you ready to do it?
Yeah.
Now, I just cut some strips of tin. You can use these over and over and over. And you could use cardboard. You can use, like I said, duct tape. There's all different kinds of things. We just need to create a dam around here. And if you want to save this tin again and not have your foam stick to it, we're going to spray some Isocoat, one of our mold releases. Just give it a nice dusting.
Yeah.
And that's going to allow us to just peel that right off when the foam.
Yep. I bet Jeff
Hardens up.
Hartwig has plenty of Bush Light boxes laying around the shop that he could use.
We've done that.
Yep, we sure have.
We've got Mario Ferra that says hi from Portugal.
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 Holy smokes. This is just a mold release. You could use cooking spray. You could
Sure.
use about anything. Isocoat, we
Pam?
really like. It works.
A lot of people use Pam.
They do.
Sure.
She was a secretary once, wasn't she?
We did have
Yeah, I thought so.
good memory. That's 40 years ago too.
And now we're just going to pin this in place.
Now, if we put a 1/4 inch of foam into here, it's going to be probably plenty.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I'm actually leaving a lot more stick out here than I really need.
And you'll want to make this dam fairly tight, but you don't have to make it airtight all the way around. As long as you pour your foam into the center and let it rise to the edge. If you pour it along the edge, of course it will escape.
I gotta chase it down.
If you do happen to spill some foam, don't try to wipe it off before it sets up. Let it set up and firm up. It comes off way easier in one piece than it does smeared all across the floor.
It's like Jeff Hartwig is turning on both YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, he heard his name.
He says, yeah, thanks for the acknowledgement, Brett. I don't know how well you guys can hear me, but for those of you who don't know, we are also live on YouTube as well as Facebook every Thursday. And YouTube is where you can go to watch all of our previously recorded videos, and we have them in playlists and kind of separated for you to find exactly what you're looking for.
2 layers of tin is hard. What if this doesn't turn out?
We're live, it has to.
We haven't had a lot of failures on our programs, have we?
Knock on wood.
We fix them during the week after people have gone home to your real life.
Jeff says that form also works good for doing habitat as well.
Oh, the foam. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. If I loosen him, you want to roll him up?
Yep. So we're just going to tip him up so that when we pour, it will rise up.
I might show them what this looks like.
Angle it toward them.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe Caitlin can come in.
I can tip it in. So here's what we've ended up with.
So we now have a dam all the way around that we can pour into the middle, and that will contain it. And you actually wouldn't have to have it if you want to. It would mushroom out and you'd waste a lot of foam.
Waste a lot, that's all.
Yeah.
And we'll, you don't want to do this twice.
No.
So we want to make sure that we mix enough, pour the whole thing, and have it rise. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
So.
And all those little seams in between the different consistencies of foam are kind of annoying to
And there will
work
be,
against.
with this, if we didn't get this exactly the way we want, we're going to be foaming the head, we're going to be foaming the neck turn. There's going to be other opportunities to foam. So, you know, if there's a little blemish or something, don't get too concerned with that. Okay, are we about, yes ma'am.
Drew would like to know what the material you are using on the outside once again.
This is printer's tin. And we have a lot of printer's tin in the shop. We use it for dams all the time.
We do.
We make little boxes when we mold things, and printer's tin is just kind of a very inexpensive, easy thing. You can get it in any print shop. And
it holds a fold if you were to bend it. It conforms nice around corners. Just works well for us.
And you could easily use duct tape. We don't need to come up that far. You could put a layer of, you know, inch high of duct tape, and that would have done it also. Duct tape is a good thing to use to contain your foam and put a little pressure on it.
But this is a deer.
Yep.
Why would they use duct tape? Just for
Deer
duct
tape.
alterations.
Use deer tape, not duct tape.
Eugene Beasley says that you have a cool shirt on, Tom.
Thank you.
Wow.
And there's a reason for that
Fashionable.
cool shirt. It's because I had a t-shirt on last week and I didn't have a lapel for my lapel mic. So I found this and I thought, aha, I have a lapel for my lapel mic, Caitlin. Did you tell them about your little mixer?
I did not. I did
Okay.
not. So our two-part foam is going to be mixed. We're going to measure off equal parts of A and B, and then we're going to need to mix it. Some people will choose to mix with just a stir stick, and that's adequate for small pours of foam. We do it all the time, especially when we're doing habitat or light little pours. This is a little bit bigger quantity, and we do want to have a nice consistency to our foam. So we're going to we're going to whip it with a drill. And what do they recommend when you whip your foam?
How long?
How long and how fast?
Pretty fast and kind of a long time.
Don't go too long.
I
just
don't
long
know
enough.
on RPMs. Actually, whenever we do big pours like habitat things and we're mixing things in 5-gallon buckets, we wide open on the drill.
Yeah.
And we use an electric drill. As far as how long, just to get a really nice uniform butterscotch color. If you have streaks or swirls in it, keep going.
Keep mixing.
And hot temperature, a warmer temperature, especially this time of year, is going to go faster than slow. So watch it. When it starts rising, make sure you're going to dump it. Once upon a time, we had a giant brown bear.
Yes,
Do you
I
remember
knew
the
you were
brown
gonna-
bear?
I do.
And somebody
I
said,
do.
I think Brian Epley said to warm that foam.
Oh, yeah.
And because he had made mannequins for quite some time, and I was kind of picking his brain on what to do. And so what better way to warm? I mean, that brown bear took like 15 pounds of A and 15 pounds of B. And so remember we put the 5-gallon jugs in the bathroom.
With the heater?
With a heater.
For a long time?
Overnight. And the next day we came out, and they were nice and toasty warm. We never got that brown bear capped. We had foam everywhere.
We still have foam on the ceiling of the lunchroom.
Yes, we do. It was a big mess.
Yes.
It goes fast. Warm foam is
Lessons
bad.
learned. Today, our foam is at room temperature. It's not cold. It's just nice room temp. And we're going to pour off 2 equal quantities. How much foam do you want?
Do it all.
I don't know if it'll all fit.
Oh, sure it will, because 16, you're good.
We have another first-time viewer tuning in, Andre Birdsall. So welcome to
Goodness.
Thursday Lives. If you're new here, let us know.
I'm Ray.
ask any questions that you may have in the
Want me
comments,
to do it?
and
Yeah.
we will answer them live for you.
So here we go. Caitlin, you want to show them? We've just poured the two parts together. And now Tom is going to mix it. And if you're going to mix with a drill, make sure that you have a heavy enough wire, because the torque from your drill could...
See that?
Go
Oops,
ahead.
not to interrupt you. See that pretty butterscotch color, but I have a few little swirls.
And again, mixing with the drill, the torque from the drill could bend that wire, and if it bends, it's going to throw foam everywhere.
Now you notice the cup, if you're not familiar with foam, you'll notice that the cup's going to start getting warm. When the cup starts getting warm, that means your window of opportunity
You want to
is
show 'em?
narrowing.
So it's starting to rise, and it's time to pour.
And you don't want to pour it too thin or it's going to run out my cracks.
So you're just pouring right into the center.
Boy,
It's
you
not quite
mixed-
on the edge.
You mixed enough, let me tell you.
This is going to make some foam. So right now, Tom's got it up about, I'm going to narrate this because it's hard for the camera to see it, but we're pouring to probably a ½ an inch, and it's rising fast. It's now thick enough, it's about milkshake consistency now. It's starting to rise, and so it's not running down as much as it is rising up. So we're rising up and doing well here around the perimeter. And now it's just a matter of wait and see what it does.
And it should be a real pretty even pour. Don't take a stick and try to smooth it out or work it in different areas. It works best if you pour it,
Yeah.
let it do its thing. Now this will go through it's a chemical reaction, goes through a heat stage, so this is going to be warm. Right now it's real jiggly like Jell-O. As it firms up, it's going to start cooling down.
Yeah.
James Caldwell would like to know if you can use the foam that's in a can.
I knew that was the
That
question.
was going to happen, yeah.
I'm sure people do, and I've seen a lot of habitat people do that, and we use it behind our artificial rocks. I wouldn't use it for mannequin, alterations in construction.
I wouldn't. Its density is considerably less. This is going to be much stronger, a lot better integrity. I've seen the foam in the can kind of collapse a little bit more than the urethane. Look at that pour.
Yeah, see, you can see we're coming up pretty high here. Now another thing we didn't talk about that you're going to want to be mindful of is you can bring that foam up to here and you can carve a pedestal out of that and make a beautiful animal, but you're going to be changing the shoulders also, so be real careful of your anatomy. On an animal like this, we're going to have the legs actually start, I don't know, probably right here, start coming down.
Lots of changes
This is making
anatomically as
noise.
it goes back. That's good. Little creaks and pops and moans and groans. That means it's putting pressure on the
Something.
on the tin. Look out.
And you can see on the screen, I can see it's coming up pretty good.
That's perfect. That's
And
just
you
about
don't
what we
want to carve it, I'd say till it's cool. Don't start
right.
carving it till it's cool.
And don't remove your tin either. This tin will make a nice finish around the edge. If you take it off too soon, it'll stick to the tin and come off. But that's a nice port. That's going to make a really nice extended shoulder. What do you think we've extended? Probably 4 inches, 5?
I bet, yeah.
Maybe even more.
I bet you have.
Maybe 4 or
now,
5 inches.
Now you've seen a lot of the mounts. A lot of people get really crafty with that real attractive. Somewhere we got a bear here that this is a pedestal bear that we've been working on. And this is just a artsy extension of the shoulder
Yep.
with hair on. That's gonna be pretty long, but you'll see people that add, all kinds of different shapes and configurations out there. So it's possible that you maybe would want that a little higher up there.
Sure.
And if you want, you can do it again. Let me turn this for you. I think I can show you what it looks like. Now that's hardened up, so it's hardened up enough that it's not gonna spill out of there, but I don't wanna start carving it. Right now it's real rubbery, just like rubber. But once, that's what we did to this, we extended this out here, and then with the Sawzall, or a knife or rasp or whatever kind of tool that you choose to, you can start shaping this as you want. And you'll know what you're after. You may have a wall pedestal that you want to copy, that maybe the customer saw that you're going to try to mimic that style, and sketch it on first. We kind of sketch it on the outside to get an idea of what we want. Then we start carving and start rasping, and you're going to be a sculptor for the back of the animal.
And while you're doing that, it's real easy to get artsy and creative and really include a lot of really cool contours and shapes. Make sure to go back to your hide and make sure you have enough hide left on your
We've built
skin.
things that didn't fit before, haven't we?
We have built things that didn't fit. We might have done that a time or two.
And sometimes, don't be afraid to take some measurements. Like from the throat to the beginning of the brisket and things like that, because as you start turning and changing things, we're going to show you how to change that neck, and by making the wrong cuts or cutting all the way through, you can really change the length of the neck. There's a real systematic way to do that. You want to change that animal the way he could turn in real life.
And probably a place that we could have started for them with any alterations, really good idea to test fit your skin first. Get an idea of what you're up against. If you've got a really good fit in your neck and really good fit in your head and shoulders, you don't want to alter or change that. If by chance you have an extra long cape or a short cape, sometimes they get cut off crooked, or you have a big bullet hole on one side. You may want to take that into consideration as you're determining your turn for your pedestal. So it doesn't hurt to test fit your form first.
And just have your hide in the refrigerator. That's we do that oftentimes when we get into elaborate alterations. There's two reasons to alter a mannequin, I guess. One is to make it bigger or smaller so it fits, and the other reason is for the pose and attitude. And sometimes we do both. When you go to a big animal in the catalog and large life size, for instance, a bear, and you're just at that size, you want that pose, but it's too big or too small. Or you want that size, but it doesn't come in the pose. So your choice is either to get the perfect size that you need, alter it into the pose you want, or get the pose that you like and make it bigger or smaller. There's just not quite,
there's a
you
lot of
gotta
mannequins
give the
out
supply
there.
companies a little bit of a break here, because you would need 50 of the same kind of standing growling bears up in his hind feet to make everything fit. Is it safe to take this off
I
yet?
think I would. So the foam
probably
is, it's not gonna give right now. It feels like it's pretty firm.
Let me get a little.
It does help to make, to take your dams off when it's a little bit warm. And by feel, this is still pretty warm. It really hasn't had time enough to cure completely, but it will make pulling the dams off a little bit easier, and we can show you that.
What would we do without T-pins?
I don't know. Complain.
Got Jeff B tuning in.
Oh,
Mr. Sling Studio.
that's right. Yeah, that's gonna look pretty good.
He's checking on you, Caitlin.
Yeah.
Guess we won't be using those again, will we?
They're a little messy.
Nope, sorry.
So you can see the addition here. There's 3 or 4 inches of foam there for sure.
Go ahead and tip him up, and I might have you, I'll get a little something to sketch on, and you can show him what you want to do.
Oh, I don't know. What do we want to do?
Now this is a semi-upright. Would that work for you?
Yeah.
Semi-up. So how's that for a
Yeah.
attitude? Is that okay?
Yep. And you're looking at the level of the chin and head, kind of neck position.
And we can change that.
Yep.
And first, like I said, we're gonna make basically a pedestal out of him, right? Mm-hmm. So go ahead and sketch on what we're thinking. We don't wanna, now we've carried here's where his legs stop, so we carried this way down here. So if you tried to put your skin on here,
Right.
you're gonna have leg tubes way up here.
Yep.
So you gotta be mindful of that. And if you do have that much skin on your cape, you can include that too. You can
Yep.
carve that in.
You sure could. You'd bring the accuracy, accurately bring the leg down and do that. But we can, for this deer now, he's going to be turned additionally to his right. So we're going to come in here and I think just give him some kind of a nice little cut back in. We're in further than the original form now, so we're glad we cut the backboard off of it, and that's why we cut the backboard off. It gives us the freedom to do that. And we'll turn here. I might bring that down just a little bit. This is just a grease pencil, so it marks really well on this raw foam. And maybe just turn that back a little bit so that we can come back toward the original leg position and not be too far.
And if we thought we wanted more up here, we can always do another pour foam.
Oh, absolutely. We could bring this down here and back around if need be, but this should be a pretty reasonable start.
So next week, I think we'll probably, oh, that's going to look nice. That's it. Like I said, we typically start making a symmetrical pedestal. Is that
Yep.
a good word? And then we choose the angle off of the wall that we're going to want to have. So next week, we're going to show you how to cut this off, make it pretty, determine how he's going to hang on the wall.
Yep.
And like most of your wall pedestals are going to have that half moon piece of wood. We're going to show you how to put that in. And then we'll show you how to cut this so it lays to the wall, then put the half piece of wood in. And then we will start cutting this for attitude.
Yep.
And then we're going to show you how to put a replacement head on,
Yep.
different head.
Probably show them at the end some reinforcement for all of those cuts, just in case.
Because
they
we've
don't
broken
fill.
heads off before too, haven't we?
Because we've broken heads off before too. That happens. So we'll show you how to reinforce them and make all of these alterations nice and pretty and ready for your hide.
And what do we have for a giveaway today?
Oh,
We are giving away the yellow form rasp.
do we have one around?
No,
here to
but we
show 'em?
can't.
We've got a couple of them. I got one right here.
Oh, you got one?
Yep.
There's certain tools that we cannot alter forms without. This is one, and this is one of our giveaways today. Yeah.
And then we have a question from Chris Ingram, and he is wondering what the bears were used for.
These bands are to use to hold that mannequin tight to that mounting plate.
Yep.
And a lot of times, if you don't need this accessory, you can use a regular, hand me that mounting plate right there. This is a different one. Sometimes we will take these and we'll just situate it on the mannequin, put long screws in, like
Yep.
we use torque head screws here,
Yep.
or you can use
the
these
timber screw.
landscape screws. But the more you saw and rasp, eventually these are going to pull out.
Yep.
The bands are to hold that on there so the thing doesn't fall on the ground. It's just our helping hand.
And then we have Jig and Jim, who would like to know if that it could be made into a sidewall mount.
That's
I
what
think
we're doing,
that's
right?
where we're headed.
Wall
Yeah.
pedestal. That's
Yep.
what we're going to do.
Yep. We're going to turn him considerably, Jim, and he'll attach to the wall from the side of his shoulder, I think, I don't know if he'll be 90, but we'll turn him pretty
We
significantly.
like to, even though he's going to be a right turn, he's going to look out into the room.
Yeah.
He may be not 90, but
And then we have Cha Lo, who said that he missed the beginning and was wondering what weight of foam do you guys use for this?
this is 3.
Yep.
And we also have, what's our rock foam, 10?
10.
And that would be too heavy for me to do alterations. It would take a
Take a lot
chisel
of
and a
foam
pick and
it doesn't rise.
it doesn't rise
as
good.
much.
The
Yeah.
stronger the foam, the heavier the foam, it doesn't rise well, and it'd be expensive.
You would use a lot of foam.
This is great foam. You can see,
Yeah.
it's nice foam,
Yeah.
about the same as this. Any of your foam under pressure, like the mannequins that are in a sealed mold, will be a little stronger than this.
Yep.
Bob Helm is wondering if you could use a release agent on the tin.
Well, we thought we did.
We gave it a light
Yeah.
coat, and so as not to saturate Tom, that was me behind the aerosol can. I could have given it a little heavier. You sure could. You could use a paste wax
And
too.
sometimes we use paste wax. We
Yep.
always have paste wax and we'll smooth it on there. Yes, that was one of our failures. It didn't work quite like it's supposed to.
You guys are killing it with the questions. David McLean would like to know what the shelf life of the two-part foam is.
If it's not, if it's sealed well and not opened,
Yes.
I would say several months. Once upon a time, I found a sample that somebody had sent us, and it was a couple years old. And you can't throw this stuff in the garbage, so it's about half full bottles, quart bottles. So I thought, I was cleaning in the basement, and I thought, what am I going to do with this? I know, I'll mix it, so it's going to harden up. So I mixed A and B and A and B and A and B, got it all into one thing, shook it up. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I thought, must not be any good. I threw it in the garbage. Hour later, we had an explosion, and it hung from the rafters.
Yes.
So I'd say several months, not longer than that.
And I think under humid conditions, they say it affects it more. So once it's cracked open and it's humid in the summertime, your shelf life might be a little less than your
We used to
winter.
add water to it for habitat. Remember, you used
Yeah,
to spit in it,
spit
and that made it go really fast.
It does.
We have Derek Harriman, who says hello from the Utah
Utah.
Taxidermy show.
Derek, hello.
And then we have Mario on YouTube, who says 30 years of work in taxidermy and learning so much from you.
Wow.
Well, that's good. That's
And then
good.
What not to do?
Jennifer, I'm not sure exactly what she's referring to, but says can't throw in the trash, question mark.
Oh, can't throw the liquid parts in the
liquid.
trash. Yep.
We're not
so-
supposed to throw liquids in the trash, but
Yep.
if it's solid. So
Yep.
like latex paints and stuff, you can't throw latex paints in our dumpster, but we can leave the lid off till it's so hard that you can't do anything with it, and they take it happily.
Or we pour it into.
Hope our garbage man isn't listening.
Pour it into a cat litter, floor
Yes,
dry.
yeah.
That works pretty good too.
Yeah, any of you for paint or using any of this stuff you don't know what to get rid of, I mean, cat litter is very absorptive,
Yeah.
and it absorbs that stuff really well.
All right, well, I guess it's time to announce our winner from last week's live for the form rasp, and that goes to Richard Renegade.
Congratulations, Richard. We'll show you how to use this if you aren't familiar with it next week. We
We'll
have
be
some.
using it a
We have
lot.
some tools that we can't do alterations without, and
Yes, we do.
we'll show you those as we go along. You'll have your own favorite things, and we'll learn some things from you too.
All right.
Thank you very much for tuning in, and join us next week, same time, same station.
Yep.
No fish.